Okay, here's number 6. So negative 6x plus 2y equals negative 14. And then negative 12x plus 4y equals negative 28. So I'm just going to choose to cancel out my y's. I guess y's because you said y's. So I'm going to take this and multiply this top one by negative 2. That's so that this will become negative 4 and then cancel with the other 4y. And so my new equation, I should have left enough room, but I didn't, so I'll write it down here. My new equation is 12x minus 4y equals positive 28. And that's for the top equation when I run the 2 through. And then the bottom equation, I'll just rewrite it. Negative 12x plus 4y equals negative 28. And now I understand what you were asking about zeros because I didn't solve it correctly. So these cancel out and these cancel out. And you're right, you have 0. And then this cancels out and it equals 0. Oh, wow. Let the dog out. Okay. And so as long as you get 0 equals 0, as long as you get a true statement, then that means that it's infinitely many. That means infinitely, and I can't spell, but many. That means that the two lines are actually sitting on top of each other. And you can kind of tell at the beginning, you can see that if you have 12 and you cut it in half, you get 6. If you have 4 and you cut it in half, you get 2. If you have 28 and you cut it in half, you get 14. So you can kind of tell they were the exact same lines at the beginning, but still you got to show your work on that final. If you would have, let's say you would have come down and this would have been 0 and this would have been something like 5 or something, then that kind of problem would be no solution. So that would mean that they never crossed. Okay? But since both sides were exactly the same and it made a true statement, like if it made 5 equals 5 or 10 equals 10, then you know that they're parallel, or that they're lines sitting on top of each other, and that the answer is infinitely many. So that's number 6. So number 7 is negative 5x minus 2y equals 14, and then the other equation was negative 6x minus 7y equals 26. And I think you said solve for y on that one too. So if I look at my y's right here, you said you kept getting fractions. So if I look at my y's, one's a negative 2, one's a negative 7. So I'm just going to go ahead and multiply the top equation by 7 and the bottom equation by a 2. But I'm going to pick a negative 2 because I want one of these, when I multiply these and it makes 14y, I want one to be positive and one to be negative. I could have chose the 7 as a negative. It doesn't matter. So it's up to you which one you choose to be the negative. Or sometimes I'll just multiply the 2 all the way through and then change all the signs afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the 7 through, and I'm going to get negative 35x minus 14y equals 14 times 7, 98. So 98. And then this one, negative 2 times the negative 6x, would make 12x. And negative 2 times negative 7y makes positive 14y, and that's why I did that. And then equals negative 2 times 26 is negative 52. Then if I set it up, the y's will cancel because one's a minus 14 and one's a plus 14. So then over here I would get negative 23x, and on the right hand side 46, and then I could divide by negative 23. You can get fractions where the two lines crisscross and not at a whole number, but I didn't put any of those on here, and I didn't see any on the worksheets, the exams that the other teachers made that wrote the final, and so it's got to be all whole numbers that they're going to cross at. So on this one you get x equals negative 2, so I'm going to plug it back in, and I'm going to go ahead and plug it into that top one. So negative 5 times negative 2 is a 10 minus 2y equals 14. And then I'm going to take 10, subtract it, get negative 2y equals 4, divide by negative 2. and I got y equals -2. So my ordered pair is -2, -2. And then on that XY one, I threw that on there because I saw it on one of their practice sheets for the final. So I'm glad you asked about that one. So it was number 13, I think. So it was y equals x, and then the other one was 2x minus 5y equals -24. And this one was too hard to explain like through the text. So the top equation has the y on the left and the x on the right. So what you want to do is just transfer the bottom equation so that it looks like that. So I'm going to take this 2x and I'm going to subtract it off to put it on the other side. So I'm going to rewrite this bottom equation as -5y equals -2x minus 24. So all I did was take that 2x and move it over. And then I'll rewrite that top one, and that top one was y equals x. And that's kind of why I put the -2x first, because I wanted them to stack up. So now that you have these stacked so that your y's are on top of each other, your x's are on top of each other, if this bothers you to not have a number there, you can put a 0. You can put a +0 there if you want. Okay, so then I'm going to multiply. I'm going to go ahead and solve. I'll go ahead and solve for. Well, I'll cancel the x's out, but you can cancel the y's out too. I'm going to multiply this one by 2. Okay, so then that's going to be 2y equals 2x. And to rewrite the bottom equation, it was a -5y equals -2x minus 24. So if I stack that, my x's cancel. I get -3y equals -24. So then y equals 8. Or I mean 6. Long day. Holy smokes. So 6. Wait a minute. No, that is 8. What did I do?
Are you recording right now?
Oh, I'm good. Sheesh. Okay, so 8. And then I'm going to replace it into one of the equations. And the easiest one is this one. So if y is 8, then if I replace that y in there, I get x is 8. And so I get 8, 8 as the pair. If you're not sure if you're right, if you're having a hard day like I am, you can replace those into that x and y. And so this obviously would make a true statement. Down here, I can replace that mess. Let me erase this part. And see if 2 times 8 minus 5 times 8 really does equal -24. And it does, so then I know I did it okay. So let me know if you get stuck again. Those were good questions.